This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up, let's hit on some Niners trade buzz as training camp progresses. Looking ahead to the first preseason game against the Denver Broncos on Saturday. A lot of interesting stuff to get to here on the program. Could the Niners make a trade for a wide receiver? Let's dive in here. You factor in the current wide receiver situation for this ball club right now. We have no clue when Brandon Aiyuk is going to come back. He continues to rehab coming off that torn ACL and MCL from October. But remember, there was other structural damage inside that knee. I think the target point for Aiyuk at some point in the middle range of the 2025 season. So that's the Aiyuk situation. As for Jauan Jennings, he wants a new deal. According to Adam Schefter weeks ago before training camp got underway, the report was, pay me or trade me. Well, Jauan Jennings reported the training camp, but then he re-aggravated that calf injury that he injured in the spring, hasn't practiced since. Is this his way of holding in? Is this his way of not practicing because he doesn't want to risk getting hurt because that could impact his payday in the future from the Niners or somebody else? Either way, pretty interesting situation, right? The 49ers have also had to add so many bodies at the wide receiver spot. Equinemius St. Brown, signed, released, signed. Quintez Cephas, signed, released. Marquez Callaway, signed, released. Andy Isabella, signed, released. They have made a bunch of moves at the wide receiver spot. Robbie Chosen Anderson, signed. At some point, any minute now, might get let go. Now, a lot of that is due to injuries at the depth spots for San Francisco, but also Jacob Cowing, hamstring. Demarcus Robinson, is he going to get suspended by the NFL? Jordan Addison also got a DUI and was speeding. He got suspended the first 3 games of the year. Ricky Pearsall, can he stay healthy? Jordan Watkins, only a rookie. You see where I'm going here? It's cloudy within that wide receiver room for San Francisco. And the Niners have the ability to make a blockbuster move if they choose to do so. They have the 3rd most cap space in the NFL at $47 million even. Patriots, most cap space in the league at 59.8, just a shade under $60 million. The Lions have now overtaken the Niners with available cap space at 47.8, followed by the Arizona Cardinals at 35.4. So a big gap between the Niners and Arizona, and then the Las Vegas Raiders there at 34.8. Of course, the strategy for San Francisco could be to roll some of this cap space over to next year. Also, keep in mind that they are eating $80+ million for players who are no longer on their team. And so the Niners this offseason have kind of reset the roster and the salary cap to a certain degree. But if San Francisco believes that they have a chance this year, why not use this cap space to upgrade your football team? I know that the Niners have undergone a youth movement, but San Francisco has a lot of win-now players, and they have still made some win-now moves. Paying Brock Purdy, paying George Kittle, paying Fred Warner. Last offseason, extended Christian McCaffrey, gave a pay bump, and redid Trent Williams' deal. You have Nick Bosa. You paid Diamador Lenore. It's an expensive team and a talented team with win-now players. And the Niners also have the easiest schedule in the entire NFL. The NFC West is wide open. San Francisco can contend if they stay healthy. I don't like the depth on this football team, but if injury luck is finally on their side for the first time seemingly in Kyle Shanahan's era, outside of 2023, they have a shot. And a dynamic wide receiver can really help to elevate the offense and the wide receiver position. And there's also this too. Brock Purdy is a very underrated deep ball thrower. He could chuck it downfield. But last year, a huge problem for the Niners, wide receivers gaining separation. But as part of Kyle Shanahan's play calling and his trust in Brock Purdy, look at the percentage of passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. These are the players who threw the fewest passes at or behind the line of scrimmage in the NFL. Bottom 5. What do you notice here? Jalen Hurts at 17.5%. Joe Flacco at 14.9%. Brock Purdy, 14.3. The third fewest passes in the NFL at or behind the line of scrimmage. He likes to be aggressive, pushing the ball downfield. He processes very well. He throws with touch, timing, anticipation. He can layer balls in there as good as anybody in the NFL. You know what would help him with that? A number one wideout. You don't currently have that. So an area where the Niners were not good last year, separation. And Brock Purdy, underrated again as a deep ball thrower. Should the Niners get Purdy, a stud wide receiver who has a track record of going deep? There are two superstar level wide receivers who have proven throughout their entire careers that they are capable of doing that. And these two players would help this Niners offense improve. They would help to elevate Brock Purdy, and they would do so in the final year of Purdy's contract as a rookie on that rookie deal, should I say, final year of his rookie deal while he's still affordable. So why not try to maximize that in this current Super Bowl window? I'm talking about Terry McLaurin of the Commanders and Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins. Both of these players separately are unhappy with their teams. McLaurin wants a new deal, and it just seems like Tyreek Hill is over the whole Dolphins Mike McDaniel experiment. He has voiced his unhappiness many times, and trade rumors around him have been hot. For McLaurin, he wants a pay raise. He has been a steady, productive wide receiver for Washington who has 5 straight years of 1,000 yards receiving. He's had to deal with a lot with Washington as they were a dysfunctional organization for a bulk of his career prior to last year. Last year, he became Jaden Daniels' number one wideout. He had 13 touchdowns, and now, going into the final year of his deal, he has earned a significant pay raise, but the Commanders haven't given it to him yet. Terry McLaurin is no longer a top 10 highest paid wide receiver. He wants to be back within this list. And according to reports, he wants some elements of the DK Metcalf contract in his contract. And DK, fourth highest paid wideout at $33 million per year. Matt Barrows of The Athletic covers the Niners, does a great job in doing so. And I thought what he said about an Aiyuk for McLaurin trade was very interesting. It's not so far-fetched considering this scenario was discussed a year ago and Aiyuk was the subject of a high-profile hold-in. Aiyuk had the Commanders at the top of possible trade destinations because of his relationship with and admiration for Jaden Daniels. The 49ers probably would have acquiesced to his request if McLaurin was a part of the trade package. But the Commanders didn't want to part with the receiver. A year later, would they reconsider? Now it's McLaurin who's causing a stir and whose feelings are hurt. While Aiyuk is coming off an October 20th ACL tear and is not expected to be ready for the start of the year, he's also 2.5 years younger than McLaurin and has relationships throughout Washington's headquarters. Adam Peters, Deebo Samuel, and others. He's friends with the quarterback. He's close to Deebo. He was drafted by GM Adam Peters, who was the 49ers' top college scout at the time. Lengthy contract battles leave bridges burning. Wouldn't both players be happier where there's no smoke? This would be a fascinating move. I just think it's unlikely given Aiyuk's knee injury. Plus, you'd have to pay McLaurin more, most likely, than what Aiyuk is getting paid. And, as we mentioned, he is older. But man, he's been a good player for a long time. 3rd round pick out of Ohio State in 2019. He has had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Even as a rookie, he was over 900 yards. And last year, he was just awesome as the go-to option for Jaden Daniels. Do I think it makes sense for Washington to trade him? No. They are in a Super Bowl window. They have a quarterback on his rookie contract, and they're not a Super Bowl contender without Terry McLaurin. As for Tyreek Hill, it just seems as though he has worn out his welcome with Miami. The patience with Mike McDaniel is growing thin. There was a situation the other day in which they butted heads and Tyreek Hill spoke to the media and unveiled things that Mike McDaniel didn't want him to share. And this has been going on for a little while. And Tyreek Hill, this is why Andy Reid got rid of him. Because as a personality, he can be a little bit difficult to manage and handle. But what you can't deny, he is one of the most electrifying, exciting, and explosive wide receivers in the history of the National Football League. He is called the Cheetah for a reason. He moves fast. He gets behind the defense. He is explosive. He is a threat to score a touchdown at any given moment. Since going to Miami, these numbers with Tua in and out of the lineup and sometimes having the likes of Skylar Thompson throwing him passes makes these numbers even more impressive. 1,700 yards on 119 catches, 14.4 yards per catch in 2022 with 7 touchdowns. In 2023, 119 catches, nearly 1,800 yards, 15.1 yards per catch, and 13 touchdowns. And then last year, with Tua missing so much time, still had 81 catches, 959 yards, 11.8 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. Now, of course, these moves would signal that the Niners are going all in. I'm not against that strategy. I think that Tyreek Hill would be more affordable in a trade than Terry McLaurin because I think the Dolphins just want to get rid of him and get him out of their building, out from their organization. You think about what the Dolphins have done this offseason. They've changed the culture a little bit, right? Jalen Ramsey wasn't happy. See ya. Tyreek Hill is unhappy. Still on the team. This is a way for Miami to kind of reset a little bit and get rid of a wide receiver who clearly doesn't like the head coach, nor does he respect him. But the 49ers also might want to let their young wide receivers develop. Ricky Pearsall has been one of the best players throughout all of training camp. Jacob Cowing, 4.4 speed, had a great spring before he hurt his hamstring. Jordan Watkins, 4.3 speed, has had his moments throughout training camp. They signed Demarcus Robinson. He's been good throughout the spring and summer. Russell Gage has had a really good training camp. And so you could have an effective room without paying a wide receiver $30+ million per year. And I think the Niners would rather do that than trade for one of these players. But nonetheless, an intriguing subject matter to discuss. And I leave you with this. Should the 49ers make a trade for a wideout? T for trade, P for pass. Let your feelings be known down in the comments section. As always, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.